Cloud. All right. So sorry about the delay. School was down. So that here we are. All right. So today's call, we're going to talk about Q4, crushing Q4, selling on Amazon during Q4 is one of the best times to sell on Amazon. It is just a crazy time. Everyone is buying, buying, buying. We have Halloween, we have Thanksgiving, we have Christmas, there's Jewish holidays in there. New Year's is just around the corner, so there's lots of fitness opportunities and stuff like that. This is a great time for seasonal grocery. And in today's call, I'm going to kind of lay the groundwork to kind of get you thinking about it. I know it sounds like it is crazy that it we're talking about Q4, we're just kind of in the middle of back to school season, somewhat wrapping it up. I know some kids are going to school this week, so we're kind of just getting over that. But now is the time to plan for Q4. And this is we're going to do a lot on Q4. I'm just going to start to lay the groundwork for you guys in this call to kind of get thinking about goals and stuff like that, things to be on the lookout for, and what you should be doing right now. And then we'll get more nitty gritty, but this is kind of the stuff no one covers, but is super important. So I'm going to share my screen now. Let me get rid of all this stuff. All right, you guys should be able to see this screen now. All right. So, how to crush Q4. So, the first part of this is going to be you want to really avoid FOMO. So, FOMO is basically fear of missing out. I had this my first Q4. It is you're going to see a lot on Instagram, you're going to see a lot on socials. You really just want to play your own game. You don't want to be concerned about what everyone else is doing, what they're buying, the stores they're shopping at, thinking that you're missing out on something, because usually that is not the case at all. So just keep that in mind. You want to play your own game. The next part of FOMO is you don't want to over leverage yourself or spend more than you could truly afford. I know it's going to be very tempting, but I know a lot of people in the past who have over leveraged or bought hundreds of a Lego set or hundreds of a toy and lost a lot of money. So even though it's an exciting time, you want to take as much advantage of it as possible. You also want to be able to sleep at night and make sure that something would go wrong, you'd be totally fine. So just keep that in mind, especially if this is your first Q4. You don't want to almost get a 0% APR credit card and go to the moon if you're not 100% sure what you are doing just yet. And then the last part of this is things people share. So you're going to see a lot of hot toys, hot categories, hard to get stuff, people filling up their shopping carts with all sorts of stuff in Target and Walmart. Stay away from that stuff. Stay away from those brands. People are going, they are not buying that stuff. They are just posting on social media to kind of get attention or likes or follows and stuff like that. So just be aware of that. I've definitely fallen into that trap. Kind of my first Q4, buying all these Legos and hot toys, and I ended up losing a bunch of money on that stuff. So that's the first part of this. Key dates. So this is going to be Amazon did send out a message that if you want your inventory to be checked in and Prime eligible for Black Friday, um, you have to have it in to fulfillment centers by October 19th. Now, that does not mean that it will not be checked in, it won't be selling or anything like that. This is to guarantee that it is Prime eligible. This is an important date. So you want to start sending stuff um, to get it to the fulfillment centers by this date. The next important date is going to be meltables. So if you don't aren't familiar, meltables are like chocolate, candles, pretty much anything that melts. Amazon classifies these ASINs, and you can't send them in now, but starting October 15th, you could send those in to Amazon. So that's the first time you're actually able to send a shipment. If you try to send a meltable product now, whatever listing software you're using, or even Amazon, they're gonna be like, hey, you can't send this right now. So start looking for meltable stuff. We'll probably go over that on another call as well. So you can start sending that stuff October 15th. A lot of good stuff. You could do a lot of bundles or like the Hershey's Nuggets or Hershey's Kisses or Halloween candy. Halloween's a little tight since it's the 31st. So your stuff may or may not be checked in on time, but you could also always merchant fulfill Halloween candy. Just be careful with that because after Halloween, no one is buying that kind of stuff. So you're probably gonna have to sell that at a loss. So that is just kind of the key dates you want to keep in mind for right now. A lot of people always ask, hey, should I send stuff to FBA? Should I merchant fulfill? Should I do it myself? All that kind of stuff. It just really, really depends. The last two Q4s, I've had no issues with Amazon having slow check-in times. It kind of pretty much ran pretty smooth for my stuff. So I just kind of, if it's profitable, I'm sending it in. Obviously, the earlier you could get it there, the better. But just keep that in mind for that. The next part of this is super, super important and something I want you to kind of do now. And this is something I'm doing. So make a plan this week for Q4. And this is some things you want to think about. Know how much you're going to spend. So you want to have some idea what you are spending typically, so and how much you have to spend because there's going to be a lot of good opportunities. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's discounted. And if you have, let's just say you have $10,000 to work with, you're going to want to really wait to get higher ROI opportunities. You don't want to be buying stuff at 20% ROI. And kind of spend all your money. And then when the really good deals come along, you don't have any capital to kind of leverage and use that. So know how much you're going to spend, and then you got to figure out how you want to best allocate that. The next part of this is know how much you want to leverage. I have leveraged myself in Q4 for sure, using credit cards or 0% APR cards to kind of help out the lag time because if you have to get stuff, start getting stuff into Amazon in October. You have to, you're not, and you might not sell to November, early December. You have to be able to have credit to make those purchases. So if you are going to leverage, make that decision and kind of stick to it. I do not recommend like getting a zero, I said that before, getting like a 0% APR card, going crazy on toys and hoping it all works out. That could just be a total disaster. So go into this knowing what you are going to spend. So that's another one. And the reason it's important to determine this stuff now is because it's going to affect kind of what your business is doing now as well. The next part of this, are you going to do merchant fulfilled or just do FBA? In the past, I've just done FBA. I've also done FBM in the past. Last Q4, it was all FBA. I know a lot of people preach merchant fulfilled, but for me, FBA worked. I had the best Q4 of my life, and it was all FBA. So just make that decision. And if you're gonna merchant fulfill, you want to make sure you have supplies, you have poly bags, you have boxes, you have plenty of tape, you have plenty of labels, you have everything you're going to need and probably double what you think you need. And it's not a big deal because you'll use that stuff later on anyway in your business. So make sure you have enough supplies. This next one is going to be as important as well, is who's prepping. So for me, last year, I actually did all the prepping. I did not send much stuff to my prep center. The reason being, I wanted to get the stuff to Amazon quicker. I didn't want it sitting around. I wanted just to move it quicker. If we're from where I live, um, I could get stuff to Amazon much quicker. If you're ordering from places like Target or Walmart or Best Buy or, places that could get you this stuff in 2 days and you could get it that day, prep it that day, get it out the next morning, you have a huge, huge advantage. I am a huge fan of prepping yourself during Q4. So definitely something to think about. You could do a hybrid, but the last two Q4s, I've done it myself. And then this one is going to be important. You want to spend wisely now and in September and in October. Because when I first did my very first core Q4, I kind of spent like normal. And then when the really good deals happened, I didn't have the amount of capital I wanted to deploy against deals. So for me, I haven't really been spending a ton of money in kind of the last couple weeks. In August, I'll start to pick up again towards the tail end, and this is going to be stuff that just to pick up a little more, want to sell through more inventory, build more capital, knowing that going into Q4, I'm going to be ready to go. This does depend on your capital situation and kind of how much you want to spend. So just keep that in mind that you want to really have a good bit of money for probably the beginning of October and definitely through November, and ideally throughout all the months. But you really want to start probably stockpiling stuff and buying stuff for Q4 pretty much in October-ish all the way through November, and realize it kind of goes through January as well because people are going to have a ton of gift cards and stuff like that. So you will also have a good January. So just keep that in mind when you are spending. If you're not really seeing that greatest stuff right now or that greatest sales or anything like that, no worries, no need to force it. Come, late September, early October, stuff will start to heat up and you'll start to hear all the major retailers talking about Q4 and Christmas and all that stuff. So I really, really would like you guys to kind of think about these two, four, five things, write it out, think about what you want to do because that will really shape what you're going to be doing these next couple of months as well. All right. Next. So from here on out, whenever you're sourcing, every ASIN you're looking at, we want to do these couple things here. You want to see if it spiked in Q4 last year. So you already have the keep it chart up. What you're going to do is you're going to go view it in the year or go back to see all. And you want to see if that price spiked in December and past Decembers. So what we're doing here is we want to identify stuff that has increased in price in past and previous Q4s, and we want to put that in a list. So when Q4 comes around and we're looking for stuff to buy, we have a list of things that typically spike in price in Q4. It just cuts down sourcing so much. You'll have a huge, basically, leads list for yourself, which is awesome and super helpful. I do this all year long. Now is a great time to do it too, because you're going to see the charts. And when you are looking at stuff too, see if it's profitable at 30%, 30 to 40% off, and add that to a list. I talk about this all the time. There are videos in the school group, how I set up my Celeram settings, how I have the sheet set up, and I have a sheet for if this is on sale. And so if things are going to be profitable at 30 to 40% off, because things are going to be at least 30 to 40% off during these Black Friday sales, during Christmas sales, during pre-Christmas sales, during the before the Black Friday sale, there's going to just be an insane amount of sales. So having all this stuff on a list and having it organized by retailer or at least pull in the retailer is definitely going to help you. And of course, we want to be test buying all year round, especially now. We still have some time. So we're doing test buys now. We will be able to get some data for Q4, but always a big proponent of that stuff. You already have the chart up. It does not hurt to look at if it will be profitable in Q4, if it was profitable or much higher priced in previous Q4s. And then if you could get it for 30, 40% off, would it be profitable and meet your ROI criteria? Because you could get so far ahead of other people if you just did this alone. Because there's going to be a big sale, let's just say on Walmart or something, and you're like, wow, if this is 30% off, these would all be profitable. What's going to happen is Walmart's going to have the sale. People are going to start looking for stuff. And what you're going to do is you're going to open your spreadsheet and you're going to put it all in the cart before all other people even know what is going on and what is profitable. That if you do the goal, if you just do this section, these two sections here, you're gonna be so far ahead of everyone else. It's not even funny. All right. So we also want to think more than just Christmas. And we kind of touched on this a little bit, but we're gonna do it again. You have Halloween, Thanksgiving, Jewish holidays, fitness in January, obviously Christmas. So, some opportunities to be on the lookout for. I would say, actually, I'm covering this later. So, I'm going to highlight these right here. So, these here. So, Halloween, obviously, candy is a big one. A lot of people will tell you Halloween costumes. I don't know about Halloween costumes. A lot and lots and lots and lots and lots of returns on Halloween costumes. I've only did it 1 year. I haven't done it since. Just too much returns. Not even just for not fitting. People buy 3 or 4 costumes. They pick one, they return the others, and then you're stuck with it because you're not going to be able to sell it until next Halloween. It just becomes a really bad situation. Thanksgiving, you got a lot of food, so think seasonal food. Whatever you're eating at Thanksgiving dinner, think bundles, stuffing, canned goods, pretty much anything, candy corn, certain candies, pumpkin spice flavors of tea, coffee, pretty much anything pumpkin spice. And we'll cover this stuff. I just kind of want to lay this out for you so you can kind of digest this, and then we'll kind of go over sourcing more, how to basically execute this plan. Christmas, obviously, and then fitness for January. For Christmas, obviously, toys is good, obviously, but people buy pretty much everything during Q4, so you just don't have to focus on toys. Lots of apparel is sold, lots of beauty is sold. Anything giftable, lots of gift sets, Legos are good. For Legos, you want to kind of go for exclusive sets. So like Target has just exclusive Legos and Lego just makes that for Target. So those could be really good plays on Amazon because Amazon is not getting those Legos. So looking for stuff like that. Again, we'll get more into that. Next section here. This is one of my favorite kind of strategies right here. So there are going to be so many sales. So what you really want to do is shop these sales before they happen. So you're saying, how is that possible? You don't know what is going to be on sale. You don't really have any idea. Target's just saying they're having a huge sale. When all these sites are saying that, you could expect, I would say, anywhere from 20 to 50% off, depending on the site, the brands, stuff like that. So shockingly, Walmart will have stuff that's 50% off. They 100% will. So what you want to do, I'll just pull these in here as well. These are just example sites, but Walmart, Target, Best Buy, Michaels, or whatever sites you normally source. It does not have to be these. Any site works. So wherever you are normally sourcing and finding profitable products, this will works. It just works anywhere. So what you want to do, you want to go to the site, pick a category, pick products, and then you're going to pretend they are, let's just say, I would say 30% off is pretty safe bet or assumption. And then you're going to make the list. If this is 30% off, this meets my ROI criteria. So you could start doing this stuff right now on any site that you're doing. I'm telling you, sites are going to have at least 30% off. Most sites will at a given time. Some will do it more often than others. Others, it's going to be a one time, once a year, or every like only happen twice a year, something like that. So you want to be ready for when this happens right away, not waste any time. And that is this is kind of the biggest thing. You'll see Walmart, oh, tomorrow we're dropping our Black Friday stuff. So just prepare, 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 prepare. Next. This is probably a pretty, I don't know. I never really learned this until the last 2 years. So there are going to be Black Friday sales. So Black Friday is usually on Thanksgiving, the next day or whatever. And basically, it's the biggest sales of the year. Usually these sites um, will start November. So they'll be like, oh, our pre-Black Friday sale, pre-Black Friday. You're going to see this all over the place. So November, probably towards, I think last year, just how it fell. I think October like 30th or something was like kind of mixed in with November 1st week. And a lot of Black Friday sales started in October. So don't be thinking that their sales aren't starting until Black Friday, because they are going to be starting probably last week of October, November. So obviously, I'm saying that to be aware, save money for those times. Those are going to be when the sales are going to be the best. Um, so keep that in mind. All right. This next one. This next one is tough to do in theory, but it will make your Q4 much, much more enjoyable. So Q4 is probably the most, this is like the time of the year. This is your busy season. This is when you're going to make the most money. You can make, some people make more money just in Q4 than they make the entire year of their business. Like this is where it's at. Like, this is where most people make their money, the majority of their money. So, you want to have some tough conversations with friends, family, and this is just dependent on you. I am not saying you should like miss, your kids' plays and stuff like that. But I've known in the past, like friends are like, oh, let's do happy hour, let's do this. It's the holidays, it's this and that. I'm like, listen, this is my time to really, really push, really, really go all out. I'm not taking trips. I'm not doing anything. All that stuff happens probably in February for me. I will go home for Christmas and stuff like that. All that good stuff for pretty much October. I'm pretty much locked in. I think this October I only have one thing to do, one event, and it is what it is. But have these conversations now. The last thing you want to do is kind of get in fights with family and friends, being like, oh, I gotta work, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. It just puts added pressure on you. You start to feel bad about it, and then that just doesn't help your business. So just get those conversations out of the way. It's like, hey, listen, really want to hang out with you. I really want to do this, but this is my business's busy season. I can't wait to get through this and then hang out with you after. So just have these conversations so everyone can know what to expect. this next one here. Don't reinvent the wheel. A lot of you're going to see a lot of people on social media talk about how you have to source certain items, certain products, all this other stuff. That is kind of not true. Um, so your own catalog is the biggest key to this. Stuff you've been buying all throughout the year, stuff you bought in the past, all that kind of stuff is going to most likely be profitable again this Q4. How do I know this? I've been doing this for 3 years now, and it always rings true. Now, the only thing you have to do to be careful about this is, you don't want to go too deep on some of this stuff. But the reason your catalog is key for this is you have sales data. So there was one item last year that the Keepa chart was not reflecting the price. So I was selling some, it looked like something was selling, the top price was $55, but I was actually getting $70 for this one item. And the Keepa chart was not checking or registering those $70 sales. Now, how did I know that this product could get $70? I tested it during the year and there was a sales spike because for this one product, it became really hard to get. So it went down in the offer count. The price went up. I was getting 70. And then I decided to test to send in right probably in October. If I held my price at 70, would I get it? Turns out I did. And I kind of put a lot of spend behind probably 5 or 6 of these items because they're kind of grouped together in a weird way. And I made so much money just on those 5 or 6 products. And it was basically because I knew the data. If I looked at that Keep chart and never test bought it, I would have never bought that item. So your own data is always better than Keep data, even though Keep data is super great and really, really helpful. It is also your own data is your best data. So definitely your own catalog is key. Next point of this is look at what you sold last year. That is going to be, that's where I'm going. Like, I am looking at everything that I'm looking at my top ASINs that made me the most money last year. I'll be looking at that stuff. That's probably going to be the first thing I'm looking at. I'll probably start looking at some of that stuff this week. Maybe not this week, but towards the end of August, maybe test buying some of that stuff, seeing if I still like the numbers, seeing if I could still get higher prices for that stuff, and really start the process because right after that, um, it's either going to work out for me and I'm going to go with those or I am not. And then this one really goes to don't reinvent the wheel. You want to double down on what is currently working. During Q4, it is just not about toys and Legos and holiday stuff and holiday foods and chocolate and all that stuff. I mean, that stuff does sell and is super good and really, really profitable. But on the other hand, if you have ASINs that are really selling well and doing really well, keep buying those. They're the misnomer is that you have only people are buying toys and Legos and this and that. Not true. If I am going to buy my Christmas gifts and I typically buy, I don't know, snacks or razors or clothing or whatever, water bottles, I'm going to probably pick up that stuff as well. So Q4 brings lots and lots and lots and lots of eyeballs and people to Amazon. So if you have good selling products and ASINs that are working, you're going to see an increase in volume in those products as well. Depending on the product, the rank, and all that other stuff, you could see 2-ish times volume. Again, it just really depends on the product and what else, other different factors. But for the most part, if you have stuff that is selling in your catalog really, really well, continue to send that stuff in and make money. You will probably also get higher prices for that stuff just because the prices will be inflated most likely. I got two or three more things here, and I will answer questions. All right. Be careful with toys and hot items. We touched on this a little bit before. Um, so be careful with the toys and hot items. So every once and again, I got stuck with this Q4. I didn't really go that deep on it. But trying to time Amazon and other retailers being out of stock is just really, really hard. I've definitely made this mistake in my first Q4, and actually I made it on two items this year. So basically, there was a hot toy. Everyone said it was going to sell out. It was really, really hard to get. Walmart was actually selling it. They were in and out of stock. I was finally able to get, I think I ended up getting 25 of them and finally got him into Amazon. Amazon was out of stock. There was no buy box, which kind of is a little bit of a red flag. Doesn't mean it's not going to sell, but it's going to sell much slower. Turns out there was no buy box for a couple weeks. And then Amazon came back in stock and basically brought the price down to what I paid for it. And it just never recovered throughout Christmas. I ended up selling them all at a big loss. I probably lost, I don't know, $300-400 on that. It was such a speculative buy. The risk reward for me was there, based on a 25 unit buy. But I probably could have made 1,000 if it went all according to plan, but I ended up losing 300. That's just how it goes sometimes. I was willing to make that bet. It did not work out, but you definitely want to be careful about stuff like that. Just because people are saying it's going to go out of stock or you see going in and out of stock at other retailers does not mean it is the most sought after hot item and it will work out. Advent calendars. Be really, really careful with advent calendars. So I'm not just talking about chocolate. They also have advent calendars for toys. There's Harry Potter ones, there's Lego ones, there's pretty much you name a thing kids are into, there's probably an advent calendar for it. What to watch out for. So a lot of these are going to be on sale and everyone else is going to see them. A lot of other people are going to gamble on this. If you look at advent calendars like Lego ones in the past, they all skyrocket in seller counts. This year, the prices didn't really follow. You kind of have to wait till they retire because they're not going to make it anymore. And then kind of like chocolate and food ones and stuff like that. The real risk with that is once it's over, like if you're buying an advent calendar, so if you don't know what an advent calendar is, it basically just counts down to Christmas. So it'll give you like this little box or this cute little thing, and every day you like December 1, you open one, and then it takes you all the way down to the 31st. Problem with that is most people are not buying advent calendars after December 1st. So just keep that in mind. You're going to see them heavily, heavily, heavily clearanced and it's going to be really tempting to buy them, but there's not going to really be a market for them kind of once after the first week of December, a lot of people aren't really going to buy them. I mean, maybe some people will, maybe like Lego or Toys ones because they're collectibles, but just be careful with that stuff, especially the advent calendars that are meltable or something that you eat. And then also Christmas items only. So if you're buying like Christmas themed plates or Christmas themed napkins, you know, I don't really worry so much about grocery products. So like Christmas isn't, I don't know if pumpkin spice is Christmas. It's more fall. But if you don't sell your pumpkin spice coffee in October, someone most likely will buy it in November. But people aren't buying really Christmas napkins at the price, at a premium price. Um, in January. It's just not happening. So just be careful when you see these heavily clearance thing. A really big one is Christmas lights. You're gonna see $20 lights go all the way down to like, I don't know, $2, $3. Seems like a no-brainer to pick that stuff up, but a lot of that stuff you will have to hold to next year. And the only issue with holding it to next year is one, you don't want to tie out capital. And number two, you don't know if those lights are going to be around next Christmas either. These lights are constantly changing, trees change, listings change, that listing can get deleted before next holiday. So just be really, really cautious when you're going to see these massive clearance sales on Christmas specific items. It's going to seem like a great deal, a no-brainer, but you also have to think about where you're going to sell this stuff. Now, if you want to sit on it and hold it to next Christmas, that's up to you, but I don't really like playing that kind of game. All right. We kind of touched on this a little, but we're going to finish with this. This is kind of where these are some really good opportunities for Q4. So, seasonal opportunities and meltable opportunities. We went over this. You could start sending October 15th. You want to be sourcing this stuff probably last week of September or second to last week of September. Start looking at meltable listings, chocolate, candles, wax, stuff like that, or anything meltable, a lot of vitamin gummies, gummy, anything, any candy that's gummy that sells during the holiday or chocolates. Really, really could do well. You see a lot of bundles of that stuff too, which is really, really great. Chocolate, a lot of the Hershey's individual nuggets, Hershey's Kisses, all that kind of stuff. You'll see bundles of like milk chocolate bag, dark chocolate bag, the chocolate with the almond. So, and they'll sell all three bags together. You have to put that in a poly bag and bundle it. Just make sure the bundle is legit. So actually just said that. So we just talked about bundles of chocolate. Another one that is really popular that I don't really see too many people talk about is going to be candles. So there are lots of scented candles, lots of air fresheners, lots of I don't know, my girlfriend has a lot of them, but like basically meltable waxes that have like holiday scents tied to them. You're gonna see this stuff on sale a lot as well. I know Yankee Candle runs some pretty crazy sales on seasonal stuff as well. So you want to be on the lookout for stuff like that. Um, Gummies, vitamins, what you really want to be doing for that kind of stuff is you want to be looking and seeing where see if the Kipa chart spiked right around October. These Kipa charts are going to be super messy to read for sure, which kind of makes this stuff a good opportunity as well. So just be on the lookout for this stuff. Kind of want to do that towards the second week or second to last week of September, or you could even look at this stuff now, make a big list. If you're new, probably start doing it now. So you have a big list for when this stuff is good. Definitely for the chocolate stuff, you're going to see a lot of buy one, get one free. Lots of really good deals, especially from like the bigger mass retailers like Target and Walmart. The candles are definitely a good opportunity. Um, and then this is another one that I like a lot. So, coffee flavors, pumpkin spice, peppermint, anything Christmas related, I would do a search for like Keurig and keep a product finder or K cups, and then put in pumpkin spice or put in Christmas, put in Thanksgiving, put in holiday, anything like that. You'll see a lot of different holiday K cups, flavors, ground coffee, teas. These are really, really great opportunities, even for OA. And even if you wanted to do some RA, grocery stores are going to be selling this stuff like crazy. You're going to see a lot of good sales on this stuff because they don't want it on the shelf. It's a quick turnaround. But for stuff that has a long shelf life and coffee flavors, like I was kind of saying before, I know people who love drinking pumpkin spice all year round. We'll buy it, we'll stock up on it, we'll pay more for it on a site like Amazon just so they could have it. I know there was a really popular like pumpkin pie K-cup a couple years ago, like pecan pie, all that kind of stuff. Just think through that kind of stuff. A lot of coffee flavors as well. People are just gonna get in that holiday season, and you'll also see like nutrition bars, or just you could do like pumpkin spice and put it in the gourmet category in Keepa and kind of shuffle it down from there. But this to me is kind of the game plan to attack Q4 and crush Q4. If you kind of follow this, now this is kind of the blueprint to get started and get things rocking and rolling. And the other calls we'll kind of walk through. What does this look like sourcing? How would you do this in Keepa? How would you find the sales and stuff like that? We'll do all that. I'll do live sourcing and we'll go through Keepa and all that other stuff. But I kind of wanted to leave room for questions since this is Q4 and it's a big one. I was really not anticipating school crashing today, right before the call, so there's not as many people here. But if you guys have questions, let me know. Does anyone have any questions? All right. I guess if you guys don't have any questions, we will end the call here. Thank you so much for being here. The call will be posted, the notes will be posted, and as always, you can leave any comments in the school and I will get to them. Have a wonderful night, and I will see you guys in the next call.
Thank you. Sorry I was late.
Oh, no worries at all.
I was sourcing the coal sale.
Oh,
So
nice. That's definitely a reason not to be here.
yeah, I did pretty good. So, but I'll
That's
watch the
awesome.
replay. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Thank you
That's
though.
awesome. Congrats. Have a good night,
Oh yeah.
guys.
You too, hon.
Thank you. Bye.
See ya.